Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this little thing is a 35-degree offset, extra long, double articulating hose clamp plier. And when I saw this, I thought that looks like a great idea. It would allow you to get around and under and behind stuff. Usually when you have to grab things that are really temperamental. I mean, it seems like we should have evolved long past stuff like this, but anyway, we still have them. And I looked at it and thought, that's kind of cool. I wonder what other options are available. So I started Googling and Amazoning around, and I found essentially the same plier. I did see a few variations in the handle, but as far as I could tell, in the design, the rotational points, whether they're rivets, etc., the gripping here, I did see what looked like some variations up there. All this same square welded onto these little beak tips here. But anyway, I first found this thing and it was about 40 bucks. And when I kept looking, well, I also found one for $38, one for $34, one for $26, one for $22, and one for $19. I also found one for, at the $40 price, also the $45 price, and a $64 price by rebranded by Lyle. Well, I went ahead and raced to the bottom and got the cheapest one, which as far as I can tell is the same as probably the most expensive one, maybe some small differences, I don't know. And I thought, this is kind of neat. It's got a kind of a ratcheting or locking mechanism right here when it works. As you can see, it's broken. I'll get to that. So as you would clamp down, it would lock in, and then that would hold the position until you released the lever, and then you could open it up. Well, the first thing I discovered is I was going after a radiator hose clamp about this size, and it wouldn't open far enough. It was about like this. I couldn't get the ends in there. If I could get them in there, then I could collapse it, or open it, I guess, in order to have enough of a reach to both be able to control it, which, by the way, this has great lock and great control, for such a simple crosshatch or waffle pattern down there. But I couldn't grab it. It was designed apparently for smaller stuff. Well, I didn't have a whole lot of things that size or even smaller. There were some, but I usually jumped down to little tiny ones. And obviously, if you can see, it easily grabs those. Works just fine. Anyway, so when I was kind of confronting this and realizing it wasn't going to go, I sort of added a little bit of pressure right here, and it popped the spring, and I felt it. I got shot in the chest by the spring, and then it broke, and then it opens up. Now, is it possible to still use this? Sure. You just don't have it in the one-handed. You got to go to two hands, but I can actually kind of pry this in and sort of get it to work, and then unpry this to get it to open. But essentially, it's broken, and I actually did find the piece of spring that shot off. Apparently it hit me in the chest and then stuck in my jacket I was wearing and then fell out, and a couple days later I found it in the house. But it also shows you maybe some of the metallurgy here. If you look at that, it didn't just snap off square, it literally sheared off like that. That's a pretty sharp piece of spring there. I don't know what causes that. I'm not a metallurgist. I looked for grain structure or something, or, I think it was just in the bend, but to produce a really sharp, kind of bend like that, to me, that's probably a little on the dangerous side. But anyway, what my point is here is it looks like the exact same tool goes from everywhere from about $19 on up to about $65. There are some differences in the handle, but I really don't see any functional differences throughout the length of this thing. I imagine maybe if you just wanted to, make your own spring or put a little back and forth spring here and get rid of this big Z-shaped thing. If you look at the listings for this thing, you can see kind of how this. Whoops! I just broke off another piece of spring right there. Look at how that one snapped off. This is kind of dangerous. I don't know. But anyway, you've got this, what could be a great tool, and this probably 2-cent spring is what's causing all of the problems. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do if I'm going to try to fix it, but it seems like you'd put a little expansion contraction spring right in the middle rather than this hokey mess, you know, and get this thing working. But otherwise, it does what it's supposed to, and then also race to the bottom, because I don't see any reason to go with a more expensive version if technically they're all the same. I'm going to probably do a video on rebranding, because I think it's interesting what causes us to purchase something we know that there's a less expensive but exactly the same version. But we'll get into that. Anyway, thought I'd bring that to your attention. If you've seen one of these, that's what it is, that's what it looks like, that's how it works, and that's the limitation. And with that, Doc out.